Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here, and welcome back to another crypto video. As you all know, we're giving away $100 worth of crypto if this video can get 1,500 likes within 24 hours. However, since we are not hitting those 1,500 likes, at all anymore, I'm gonna lower that down a little bit to 1,200 likes. Let's see if we can hit that on today's episode, and also put in the comment section down below from what country you're watching this video. I'm always interested, even though you've already commented a couple of times, man, I still like scrolling through those comments, just checking out where you guys are watching from. It just sometimes makes my day, just seeing that you guys are all engaged with me as well. Not engaged in a marrying way, you guys know what I'm trying to say. How Bitcoiners should watch the US Federal Reserve meeting on Wednesday. I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. The US Federal Reserve and Fed Chair Jerome Powell know extremely well that any one of their statements is going to have huge impacts on the FX market, on the crypto market, and any market for that matter, as right now we are talking about interest rates. This is a concept and a construct basically that's extremely important for how people spend their money. And when I'm talking about people, I'm talking about huge multi-trillion-dollar people basically, or at least assets that are managed basically, and mostly money, however. But also how banks invest and how the whole economy is looking and how the value of the dollar is basically looking. And all of that is going to be partially addressed this Wednesday. It's going to be really, really important. There's a couple of quotes in here, I think two important ones, which are the fact that the interest rates basically always around 2. None of them show, these are the predictions, none of them show an inflation above 2. But again, the basic situation here that you should understand is that this Wednesday, another important statement is going to be thrown out there. And if we get some crazy idea of inflation, something that really people did not expect, that could be really positive or really negative for crypto. We don't really know just quite yet what he's going to be saying. He knows for sure, though, for sure, that his words and anything that he can say is going to have a drastic effect on crypto. However, he can also not really hold back, right? Because they cannot not do this. So from that perspective, again, I do think we should just keep on watching, and we'll talk about it as we get closer, though. I might just talk to you guys a little bit more about this a little bit later today, if there's any more news coming out. Then, Yearn.finance. I just wanted to quickly talk about this one. Price is on the brink of plummeting down to 17,000 as whales exit the network. So in the back of my head, it was like extremely expensive all this time. You can see here, YFI has established a parallel channel with its lower trend line located at 28,000. A breakdown below this point would drive Yearn.finance price down to 23,000, initially to 17. When I first read this article, I was so afraid because I thought a lot of the guys that have invested in YFI have just lost half their money or something like that. I thought the price had dropped just crazy. However, articles like this are always just to bait me because it doesn't really do anything. They're just saying we're on the brink of plummeting. But again, that's always something that people can write all the time, right? You can always say, oh, we could drop here, we could drop to this point. But if there's no proper backing for it or just some small and vague idea, what's the use, right? And even the whole picture, I don't really think this matters at all. If you're also going to call out a positive scenario here, then what's the point of calling it out so bearishly? Then Ripple CEO reveals huge growth despite SEC lawsuit and focus on CBDCs for 2021. There was also a couple of people in the comment section who did not understand why I called my previous video that Ripple is breaking records. Well, read this one. Ripple reports record transactions in 2020, XRP consolidates. Nearly 3 million transactions were processed over RippleNet in 2020, and I don't know the exact amount. I think here we can see it. $2.4 billion were transferred in 2020 alone, 12 times year-over-year growth. And of everything, ODL is about 20% of all RippleNet's transactions in terms of notional value, which is interesting if you're asking me. Is it actually notional value where they said it's 20%? Or were they actually talking about amount of transactions? That I do not actually know, if I'm completely honest with you. I just know, however, that they've grown like crazy. They're still onboarding quite a lot of customers. They're still expanding towards more countries. I think it's pretty damn crazy if you start to think about it. They've also gotten 15 partners, as we just said, in the last couple of weeks alone after the whole SEC lawsuit actually came. RippleNet saw 5 times the volume of 2019. Guanghouse confirmed the continued strong support for Ripple from customers and revealed the focus on central bank digital currencies. So there's 2 things here I want to mention. One is the fact that all these customers who are then part of Ripple are actually not selling it, which is something I shouldn't say selling it. These guys are actually still onboarding with Ripple as we're seeing an increase in customers rather than a decrease, right? And you would actually think if these companies were also to chicken out like all these exchanges are doing, that we actually see a decrease in partners that Ripple has. They haven't made the whole number of partners public, so theoretically speaking, could be that they had a decrease. I'm just going to guess that that's not the case, though. They did get themselves an increase, though, in terms of the fact that they are still getting partnerships and actually at a kind of record pace, basically. I think they got 15 in a couple of weeks. It's not even 7 weeks, so they were getting more than 2 partners a week. So that's definitely quite good. And yeah, from that perspective, if the numbers are still increasing and these guys are not going away like crazy and they still have above 300 partners, doesn't that really say something too? That says that a lot of these on the side or basically on face value, on the surface, that's the word I'm looking for. On the surface, a lot of these exchanges sound really scared, and a lot of these companies are really scared to be working with XRP because it could be a security, yada, yada, yada. I've said it before, that whole analysis is just stupid because why would you ever list it anyway then if you were already, so easy convincible by the SEC with just an allegation? But that's all aside. The partners that Ripple really has, like for example, Bank of America and all that, they're not really backing down from Ripple at all. First of all, because Ripple will continue regardless. And also, I guess, because they do believe that Ripple stands in their shoes quite well and that they'll just plow through all of this. The same thing goes for the employees. Don't you think as well that all these guys quitting their high-end jobs at some of the top companies wouldn't just get afraid and get out of there if there's a big lawsuit going on? They don't want to slander their own name, so they're going to go as soon as they hear the news if they're really afraid of it. But they're all staying, though. In the end, guys, I think this is all going to be fine, and regardless of what happens, they might just push it on the fact that crypto is just not matured enough, if things really hit the fan. However, I personally think XRP is really amazing. I'm still going to stick by that. And in terms of outlook, we've already seen from HSBC that Ripple has already been working with CBDCs. However, they're still keeping it quite quiet. They're not really showing too much of what they're up to, but that could partially be due to NDAs. Because if you start to think about it, a government making a central bank digital currency or some other entity making something like that, they of course wouldn't want the world to know unless they were really ready for it, right? Or unless they knew they could actually get something done, or if they just want to announce a certain phase that they're getting into. But even if they're announcing the phase, it could be that the freaking EU has a partnership with Ripple. It could be as announcing a phase and announcing exactly how you're going to build it are 2 exact different things, just exact opposites. So from that perspective, there could be a lot going on with Ripple already on a level like that, which might again turn out to be a very positive thing for this whole lawsuit, as it might just give them another little pivot to stand on, just to showcase like, hey, this is what we're doing for the rest of the world. If you really get us out of your country, this is what you're going to lose out upon. Also, guys, check out GSX. I've heard now that a couple of you guys really dislike it. I personally like it, and that's why I cover it. I personally think at least it might give me a good ROI. I'm hoping for like ×4 or so in a pretty short amount of time. Again, that's my personal idea about these things. It doesn't mean you have to buy it. It doesn't mean you have to check it out. Please, guys, don't understand me wrong. I'm just saying I personally put a couple $1,000s in, and it's basically the first gold-backed coin and a growth coin as a concept. The concept just really sounds cool to me, and I don't get why people are so hesitant. No, not necessarily hesitant, but against it. Why people hate it so much. I've talked to the guys from this team here. Everything adds up. I had a lot of questions. Of course, I saw those scam allegations. I saw people talking about it. We verified everything. And again, if you don't understand, just check the Discord out. We're talking about this every so often. Because, again, if there's something really wrong, tell me, and I'll tell everybody that I know that I don't like it anymore. But as of this point, these are all just loosely based things, because at least every question I've had can be disproven, basically, or every allegation I found. But again, that's just your own 2 cents. I personally put a couple $1,000s in. I'm like, what is it going to get me? It could get me a huge ROI, and if I lose it, I lose it, right? That's, again, the way I go with all these cryptos. I like to gamble. I like the risk. why do you take it so difficult? It's not that difficult, guys. It's not that crazy. It's just another test type of thing. And in this case here, the growth potential is a lot better because it's a coin that's not issued just quite yet. It's not out just quite yet. And that's, again, why it's a risk, but it's also a good reward. Then Ripple reports record transaction. Oh, we just covered that one already. Ethereum breaks above 30-month high against Bitcoin. Today, Ethereum printed a new all-time high against USD. Meanwhile, Ethereum and Bitcoin price is also retesting significant zones right now. And that is, of course, because Ethereum is gaining better than Bitcoin is. And that one is really interesting to me because it really shows once more how Ethereum's market cap is also going to be taken over and how the Ethereum decoupling phase has also started, or is actually quite significantly there already. We saw for quite a couple of days here how Ethereum was skyrocketing while Bitcoin was staying quite straight. That again is quite the definition of decoupling, where whatever Bitcoin is doing, Ethereum could just go its own course. The reason I'm not really fully sure about that just quite yet is because if you take a good look at the chart, they actually look really, really similar. And that is because Ethereum just does basically what Bitcoin does, but then to a heavier degree. Again, basically what most altcoins do. And even though it doesn't really look like that if you look at Ethereum specifically and then look at Bitcoin, if you look at a weekly chart like that, the real line chart, it does look quite similar, right? And that's interesting to me. I think things changed though if you start to consider that Ethereum hit an all-time high just now, and Bitcoin has hit an all-time high a very long time ago and is really down below the newer, I guess, high, like, I don't know, 25% down or so, and Ethereum is really right around the corner. So again, you can see the real percentages right there. Then over 1 million Ethereum tokens leave exchanges as investors grow confident of new uptrend at $3,000. Yep, they're taking it off. They're holding it through. Very smart move in my opinion, though. I'm also doing exactly that, just keeping it all, stacking it all up. Then Uniswap price soars to new all-time highs as uni whales go into buying spree. Uniswap, 1inch, the YFI, all that type of stuff is just something I really am getting into right now. Sushi, not too much, but again, maybe I should. But the reason is, I think Uniswap is just going to keep building itself bigger and bigger and bigger. And I've noticed I really have almost no money in Uniswap in terms of the real Uniswap coin. And that's because I thought a scandal might come here or there, just some huge scam or fraud allegation, something like that. But it's really based upon nothing. It's just in the back of my head I kind of thought about. And so I really have to look for a good entry into some Uniswap as well, because I want to, get a couple of coins, right? I told you guys about it. I have a base set of coins right now, but every couple of weeks, basically, or every so often, I just put some money on the side to invest into crypto. And right now I got another batch and I'm looking for the best coins, which is why I always want to see recommendations down below in the comment section as well of what coins I should check out, because I can never have enough, and even though I might only, for example, put in $25, into a coin that you're talking about, at least I'm involved, at least I've listened to you, and at least we can try. What if it goes times 100? Yeah, okay, it might only be $2,500, but that's at least a freaking huge amount of gains, right? And again, that's just how you diversify properly, in my opinion, by just going for a lot of the projects which everybody believes in. And even though it might be based upon nothing, I think it does always have something if people really believe in it that well. Again, unless you call a freaking 2,000th spot coin on me. If it's not in the top 500, I'm not even going to look at it, so you guys know. And last one here, JP Morgan on what could generate a severe liquidity shock to Bitcoin markets. One thing I would just like you guys to all understand as well is the fact that Bitcoin is truly scarce. Same thing for quite a lot of crypto. And the US dollar is not. Gold is really not either. And thus, from that perspective, well, the more Bitcoin gets sent to wrong addresses, the more is going to be taken out of the circulation, and thus the velocity has to be higher, or the price basically, to still get the same amount of efficiency or still the same amount of value across the network, right? Because there's going to be less and less Bitcoin as time goes on. You might be saying, oh, but it will only be more, right? Because we've got to get to 21 million eventually. True. So theoretically speaking, it will be added right now, but the total which can ever be in circulation, which right now, in theory is 21 million, has actually gone down quite significantly. Let's say it's 16 million. But eventually, no, let's say it's 17 million. I do not know exactly the number though. But eventually it's going to go down to, for example, 15 million of Bitcoin that could ever be in circulation. And then considering Satoshi Nakamoto also has 1 million locked up, which, he's not really getting rid of, I've noticed. Maybe he will eventually, who knows? Knowing it from that perspective, it could also be that you can really get to a 12 or so million Bitcoin real circulation eventually. And the fact that Grayscale, for example, and PayPal and stuff like that are also buying so much Bitcoin, where the velocity is actually zero because it's on their platform, it's just being traded amongst those traders, but it's basically on their exchange themselves, is most likely not going to really change the real volume, basically, depending on how they're going to be arranging it. I do not actually know too much about that. I might look at that a little bit later. But yeah, knowing that, the real velocity of Bitcoin, no, not the velocity, sorry guys, the circulation of Bitcoin might go down so drastically that real scarcity really kicks in heavily, and we're going to have a liquidity problem, as again, they all hold. But again, that's just a little theory. XRP is a good fix for that. Even the new Ethereum could be a good fix for that. Just coins that are not Bitcoin, basically, are all better. But whatever, guys. That was it for today's video. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you press the like button and subscribe, and I will definitely see you guys again in another crypto video. And yeah, have a good day.